Well, back to Titus 2, and as you go there, Titus 2 and verse 2, Titus 2 is just one link in that discipleship mandate that was left to Christ's church. Discipleship begins at conversion. Discipleship begins at conversion, but it's when we're born into Christ's family, it's only the beginning. It is to continue as long as we live. We are never ending in our learning of Christ. We're never ending in our learning of Him. Remember Matthew 11, 28 to 30? He says, "Come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me." We are lifelong yoked to Christ and lifelong yoked to one another. And as we learn of Christ, we walk with others and teach them how they too can follow Him. And so, we are to become, each of us, lifelong pupils, lifelong learners, and lifelong followers of Jesus Christ. Now, the New Testament believers were called disciples in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and into Acts. Okay? And sometimes we disconnect from this, and disciples has become something in the past or a few people that go to a class somewhere. But believers were first called disciples. That word mathetes means a learner who follows. And in the context of the New Testament, a disciple was someone who learned and followed Jesus Christ and obeyed Him. See, it's more than just someone out in the audience that's learning as he lectured. It was a disciple was someone who took that step further and actually made the commitment to Christ and was saved and became a lifelong learner, follower, and obedient one to Jesus Christ. And so don't just make it a classroom thing. It was truly someone who was following Jesus Christ. But in Acts, we see something happening. As the church spread, believers took on a new name. It says in Acts 11 and verse 26 that the believers, which were up until that point, Acts 11:26 is one of those junctures. It's a turning point. Those who were called disciples in Acts 11:26 began in that verse to be called Christians. So a believer is a disciple, is a Christian. But let's just back up. A Christian today, someone who calls himself a Christian, is to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. Someone who is in a lifelong pupil, student learning from the Master relationship with Christ. And as we learn of Him, we follow His example and we bring others along in our life that we are training and teaching. So I want you to think about that, whether you're obeying the pattern. At the end of the New Testament, this term disciple, which is in Matthew through Acts, and Christians, Acts through 1 Peter 4:16, describe throughout the New Testament those who had been called to obey, follow, and learn from Christ. So there just seems to be a complete continuity between the Gospels and all the way through the general epistles, that those people who began as believers, they were disciples, are called Christians, are all the same. And so we have never lost Christ's call to be lifelong followers, learning and obeying Christ.